Hi, welcome to episode 3. My name's Wayne Scurra. I'm a musician, songwriter and producer. In this session, we'll look at how we can further integrate Logic Pro and Maschine software as well as the MK3 hardware, developing our song arrangement ideas from episodes 1 and 2. We'll explore importing and exporting both audio and MIDI patterns between the two softwares. I'll demonstrate how to prepare and export arrangements from Maschine, as well as record audio direct from Maschine into our existing Logic session. Finally, we'll compare the two workflows and assess the pros and cons of using both platforms. Firstly, we'll look at exporting MIDI patterns from Logic to then import into Maschine. I've selected the MIDI regions I want to export, right-clicked and selected Export Selection as MIDI file. I will then save this into a designated folder on my hard drive. I will now drag and drop the MIDI file into an empty instrument group in Maschine. As you can see, the pattern has automatically synced to the project in the correct key and timing. We can edit and adjust notes in the pattern as we choose. I've chosen the Native Instruments Conflux plugin and chosen a preset that I like the sound of. You can then adjust the parameters and effects of the plugin to your taste. You can also export MIDI patterns straight from Maschine into Logic. Here I have chosen the arpeggiated keys pattern and simply clicked on the MIDI export button in the Maschine software and dragged the pattern straight into my Logic session. I selected Use Tempo in the dialog box to ensure that it synchronises. I've then selected a preset sound in Logic's Alchemy plugin. I can change or adjust this at any time. I can now edit the individual notes in the piano roll in Logic. You may want to record direct into the Logic session from Maschine. This can be done as audio and can be a tricky process, so stay with me. Firstly, I've selected a new bus channel, bus 2, as the output from the Maschine channel. I will then add a new audio track and set the input source as bus 2. This will route an audio signal from the Maschine into the new audio track. As you can see, when I arm the track and hit record, I am now recording direct from the Maschine into Logic. This can be a really useful tool, especially when jamming and sampling between the two platforms. I will now demonstrate how to set up and use sections and scenes in Maschine's Arranger window. The Arranger window works in a linear fashion, just like Logic. We can choose which scenes and patterns are playing in a predefined arrangement. We can set up different sections of the arrangement quickly using the MK3 hardware. I've selected an empty section and the scene 1 to play within that section. I've then selected another section, section 2, and selected scene 2. For section 3, I've selected scene 3 to emulate the build of the track. For section 4, I've selected scene 2 again because it goes down into a verse and I want the arrangement to be less busy. As you can see, I have 4 different sections and scenes ready to play out automatically. These will be automatically synced with the Logic session when we press play. As Logic is a more comprehensive DAW for mixing, I will export my arrangement of Maschine sounds as audio files into my existing Logic session. I will firstly go to Files in the Maschine and select Export Audio. In the dialog box, I can choose which groups of sounds I want to export by checking or unchecking the boxes in the list. For this demo, I will only export the drums. However, we can also choose which elements of the kit we would like to export. Select All for the full arrangement and then save them to a folder on your hard drive. You can now drag and drop the audio files straight into the Logic session, selecting Create New Tracks in the dialog box along the way. These tracks will sync up to the Logic session. You will also want to mute your Maschine plugin track to avoid doubling up on the sound. The tracks are now in the Logic arrangement, ready for editing and mixing.
A new wave, a break in the day, take back the silent hold. There's trouble, so you sing it, 'cause you only got a minute. Hear the sirens call, or you rescue me from the cold, going nowhere. What you waiting on? What you waiting on? What you waiting on?
Working between two platforms can be cumbersome and involves an expensive initial outlay. However, hopefully, some of the benefits of using both have been explored within this series. It must also be noted that learning to use both can be time consuming. There are other integrated DAWs such as Ableton and the Push or other hardware products that will give you similar hands-on creative experience. Reading up and watching tutorials such as this one before you invest will ensure that you pick the ones that are right for you. For songwriters, musicians and producers, separating the initial creativity from the recording and mixing process can be a great way to help you make definite decisions and avoid constant tweaking. Whilst this might not work for everyone, I've personally integrated the Maschine and Logic into my own workflow, drawing on each of their strengths to develop my songs. I hope this series has been useful and given you some new ideas, technical know-how and tools to aid your creative songwriting process. Thank you.